You know, some dates just stick in your mind, right? Well, for the tech world, March 14th, 2026, that's one of them. It wasn't just another Tuesday. Nope. It was the night a shockwave of news hit that literally set the stage for our entire future.
I mean, think about it. In just a few hours, count 'em, six revolutions happened all at once. We're talking about everything from how we play games to the graphics that make them look real, all the way down to the guts of the computers themselves. It was this crazy, perfect storm of innovation, and honestly, nobody saw it coming.
So the big question is, how? How did one night change everything? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack here. We're going to look at each of these breakthroughs, and more importantly, figure out what it all means for you and me. All right, so here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with how gaming just got turned on its head. Then, we'll dive into the graphics, making it all look so good. After that, we're going to get a little weird and look at computing inspired by nature. And finally, we'll pull it all together and see what this new future looks like.
Okay, let's start with gaming. The first two big announcements basically took the rulebook for console gaming and just tossed it out the window. This is all about freeing high-end gaming from that box sitting under your TV.
So first, NVIDIA drops a bomb, GeForce Now VR. For the very first time, you could stream those big, beautiful AAA VR games at a buttery smooth 90 frames per second. Now, people thought this was years away, but nope, it was real. Streaming right to headsets like the Apple Vision Pro or Meta Quest, no crazy expensive gaming PC required.
So how in the world did they pull this off? Well, it all comes down to this magic number, under 20 milliseconds of latency. See, in VR, if the delay is any higher than that, it feels awful. It's laggy, it's nauseating. By cracking that 20 ms barrier, NVIDIA basically just solved the biggest problem holding back cloud VR gaming. It's huge.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The head of GeForce Now, Jeff Fisher, said they've erased the line between playing on a local machine and playing in the cloud. Just let that sink in for a second. Suddenly, the most powerful GPUs on the planet, they're available to anyone with a headset and a good connection. The price tag for getting into high-end VR, it just evaporated.
Okay, so while NVIDIA is breaking down the hardware barrier with the cloud, Microsoft comes out and says, hold my beer. They announced they were breaking down the walls of their own ecosystem. They called it Project Helix. And get this, it's not a new Xbox. It's a premium gaming PC architecture made specifically for your living room. And this is where it gets really clever. Project Helix is basically the best of both worlds. You get the plug-and-play simplicity of a console, but the freedom of a PC. It'll run stuff from Steam, from GOG, not just the Xbox Store. Microsoft isn't trying to win the console war anymore. They're just changing the game completely.
All right, so you've got all this new gaming power, but you need the graphics tech to actually make it shine, right? Well, the next couple of announcements were all about that, and they came with a pretty big surprise.
Yeah, NVIDIA wasn't finished. They also dropped DLSS 4.5. Now, if you don't know, DLSS is this amazing AI tech that magically boosts your frame rates. But the big new thing here was real-time path tracing. This is like the holy grail of computer graphics. It's how studios like Pixar make light look so incredibly real in their movies. And now, it's happening in real time in a game you can play. Wild. But here's the thing. Movie-quality visuals don't mean much if your game is running at 10 frames per second, right? It'd be a slideshow. And that's the magic of DLSS 4.5. It doesn't just make path tracing possible, it actually gives you a performance boost of up to 40%. So you get these unbelievable graphics, and the game is still totally smooth and playable. It's the best of both worlds. So NVIDIA is just owning the high-end conversation, right? But then, out of nowhere, a new challenger steps into the ring. A Chinese company called Lisuan shows up with its G100 GPU, and it looks like it's here to completely shake up the market. And just look at why this is such a big deal. The specs are right there with NVIDIA and AMD. But check this out. More memory. 16 gigs for way less money. We're talking $399. For the first time in what feels like forever, that NVIDIA-AMD grip on the market has a real, honest-to-goodness competitor. Okay, we've talked about gaming. Now let's zoom out. We're going to shift gears from entertainment to the very DNA of computing. Because the next two breakthroughs, man, they're not just small steps forward. They're completely new ways of thinking. One inspired by the universe itself, and the other by us. First up, Xanadu and AMD announced something truly groundbreaking.
They used a quantum computer to solve an actual real-world problem for the aerospace industry. This is a huge moment. Quantum computing just jumped out of the research lab and into the real world.
So what did they solve? It's called computational fluid dynamics. Basically, it's the super complex math you need to design things like jets and rockets. Normally, that takes a massive supercomputer days to figure out. With their new quantum system, they did it in minutes. That's not just faster, it's a total game changer for how we design and build things.
And at the exact same time, we get hit with another computing revolution, this one also inspired by nature. It's called neuromorphic computing, and the idea is pretty simple but profound. What if we built a computer that works like a human brain? Not just faster, but fundamentally different, processing tons of things at once, super efficiently. And to understand just how insane this is, check this out. To solve a really tough physics problem, a supercomputer needs megawatts of power. We're talking enough electricity to power a small city. The neuromorphic computer, it solves the same problem using the same amount of power as a tiny little LED light bulb. The energy savings are just staggering. It's almost unbelievable.
So, wow, that was the night. 6 massive, world-changing announcements, all in a few hours. Let's take a breath, pull back, and actually piece this all together. What does this dawn of tomorrow really mean for us?
Okay, quick recap. On one night, VR gaming without a PC became a real thing. The whole console versus PC war got totally upended. Graphics in games now look like movies. There's a new player in the GPU game shaking things up. Quantum computers are solving real problems, and we have new computers that work like brains with insane power efficiency. Any one of these would be a huge deal. All of them together? That's not just progress, that's a whole new chapter.
That one night, March 14, 2026, it proved one thing for sure. The future is coming way faster than we think. So, I'll leave you with this question. Out of all this incredible new tech, which one do you think is going to show up in your life first?